All my team is gang, focused on the same thing. Beast as a unit, bosses in our own lane. All my team is gang, focused on the same thing. Beast as a unit, bosses in our own lane. All my team is gang, focused on the same thing. Beast as a unit, bosses in our own lane. Anytime I set forth, I'm raising up my net worth. I don't fuck with no red shirts, only ballers play on my network. If I get work, then they got work. I rely on they expertise. We can make more cheese if we use each other as a resource. We don't operate from me first. If he thirsts, then we thirst. If she wins, then we win. Help each other stay keyed in. Y'all be frontin' on LinkedIn, networking with fake friends. See that connection in real life and don't even know who they is. Y'all be on that fake biz. We push each other toward greatness. Y'all be chasing that clout, but we be chasing them payments. We about to elevate. We master man, then innovate. I'm after man, they after theirs. We collaborate over land and beer. No need to crowdfund my ideas. My early investors are my peers, and I am theirs. I'm aware relationships of this type are rare. B.I.Z, I run this Joe. Certified boss from the windy, yo. Team full of beasts that are with me, bro. So if you wanna go against me, don't. All my team is gang. Focused on the same commanders. Look, it's the 10 launch commanders. Yeah. It's the 10 launch commanders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring up Curtis R. Monday, host of the Urban Business Roundtable, to break down a conversation about this. All right, G. Hey, that's a room. What's up, good people? How y'all doing this evening?
All right. Give my man a round of applause, man. It take an entrepreneurial spirit to take a classic like that. You took a beat.
Yeah, everybody can't rap off the top of Biggie, but people told me I did a good job. So.
Thank you guys for coming out. My name is Curtis R. Monday. I'm the owner of the Curtis R. Monday Insurance Agency, and also the host of the Urban Business Roundtable. Comes on the WBON every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Talks about entrepreneurship, and co-host C-Flips, the real estate investment show that comes on 11 a.m. on WBON. I've had the opportunity and pleasure to meet Jason and Impact over the last couple of years.
444, where y'all at?
That's right, the large cohort, right, exactly. And so this is a phenomenal guy. So we want to get into the event tonight. And before I get into the commandments, I just want to ask you, give us an idea of what was the inspiration behind the project, behind the vision for what you set out to do.
So, I mean, pretty much, a lot of people have challenges launching businesses. So, I've had my own business consultancy for years. Then I became the director of the Entrepreneurship Center at the Urban League, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the problems that I always saw was when people were trying to launch businesses, they were just making a whole bunch of mistakes, right? So people would take their whole life savings and be like, oh, I have this vision for how I want this business to be. And then they would invest, all of that money into it without talking to potential customers, without, testing out their value proposition, without doing any market research, without doing any of those particular things. And then they would come to you a couple months later, like let's say it was an app. They had an app nobody wanted. They're like, I built all these features, I paid $15,000 for this, and now they're trying to force it down your throat, and they become a business searching for a problem instead of a business solving a problem. So the thing is, I felt like it was important to be able to kind of create these 10 launch commandments, if you will, to be able to teach business owners in a way that's memorable, in a way where people can kind of go back to it and be like, oh, number 5, that's this, right? Make a brand promise and deliver, or whatever, to be able to successfully launch the business. And everybody knows the power of music, right? So when I was younger, I used to rap, I used to produce, that was like my first dream. But back then, that was before Kanye. So if you wasn't rapping about drugs, you had to pretend that you was, and if you get into certain circles, right, they're gonna test you, right? So the thing is, that wasn't my time, but as I've gotten older, so I was like, I'm gonna launch a business. So I launched a consultancy that was highly successful, but then I got into this community work and things like that. Launched a tech startup that didn't go as well, but does a whole bunch of lessons and relationships that's learned. And on average, when you launch a tech startup, on average, it takes your third venture before you actually, on average, kind of find some success. So I didn't go for 2 or 3 yet, but pretty much, rediscovered this music, and I felt like, okay, I got all this subject matter expertise, all of these experiences, you know, I got some bars, so how can I kind of combine these, and that was the inspiration for this.
Absolutely. What you just described is the typical entrepreneurial journey. If you're an entrepreneur and you've ever had this experience, you've had these number of different things you've kind of gone through that's culminated into an actual moment, watershed moment that's helped you get to where you are. I think, Jason, African Americans are uniquely positioned, and we have a unique skill set that we're intelligent, we're creative, and a lot of times if the rules are definable and recognizable and fair and level, we can excel. Sometimes though, we need tips, we need some mentorship, we need things along the way to help give us that extra guidance and give us that extra push. I want to get into some of your commandments. They're all great, we don't have time to get through all of them, but I want to touch on a couple of them that spoke to me. Number 4, you do your biz because you enjoy it, but don't fall in the trap of self-employment, the systems in place for others to do the work, then watch your venture scale when you chill at a resort. A lot of times we have a talent, and we get caught up in doing the work and not working in the work.
Yep.
Talk to us about the importance of not falling into the trap of self-employment. What does that mean?
So a lot of people think, you know, they have to be able to do everything for their business. So if they're launching a barbershop, they got to be able to cut hair. If they're, you know, launching a graphic design firm, they got to be able to launch a graphic design. You know, they got to be able to do graphic design. The thing is, what people don't recognize is that a business, the difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur and a business owner is that, you know, if you're self-employed, if you stop doing whatever you do, the money stops, right? But a business owner creates a configuration of systems and people that's designed to generate revenue, right? So when you create that configuration of systems and people, that goes whether or not you're chilling on the resort, whether or not you're doing this, doing that, or whatever. And the great thing about technology nowadays, it can be a configuration of systems, people, and technology in order to automate things, right? So the thing is, a lot of times people feel like they have to do everything, they feel like they have to be hands-on, and what happens sometimes is you have somebody who, on the externally looking, you think they have a successful business, right? They're doing well, they're getting all this press, they're doing all of these different things, but like let's say they're a restaurant owner, they still in the kitchen. They shouldn't have to be in the kitchen, right? The problem is they haven't created a configuration of systems and processes, trainers to kind of help, like training them on how to like do their recipes, like really documenting everything they need to document in order to take people who may not have the skill that you have to be able to have them come in and be able to do those things. So there's this work that you have to do in order to create these processes, in order to create these systems, in order to be able to like really truly scale your business. So it's important to be able to really think about these systems, what needs to be done. And I always tell people, think like as far as like when you're hiring staff, whatever you hate doing, that's your first hire, right? Like for real. So like if you suck at marketing, you know, you need to hire a salesperson, right? If you suck at like, you know, administration, your first is an administrative assistant. So thinking about what needs to be done, and I always tell people, create like your job descriptions in advance. So like, you know, it's not like as simple as if you build it, they will come. Like it ain't like that. But like if you build it, then you'll be able to see when somebody who may fit what you need them to do may come. So yeah.
I think a lot of times though, as entrepreneurs, we fall into the trap of hustle mode. Like we all got a natural grind about ourselves, but we spend a lot of time doing the work, and not being conscious about it. You have to kind of allocate some of your time to building processes and systems. It's been one of the hardest things that I had to learn, you know, being in business, to actually take time out and step back and look at my business from a holistic perspective. But it is the difference between you having a gratified one-person job and an actual true business. If your business can continue to do transactions and make money, even if you're not there. And then the other part of that is this definition or this notion of skill, which a lot of African American business owners, we fail to get to that level. Talk to us about skill. What is skill?
So basically scaling is being able to take your business and then take that model and replicate it at a larger, I don't mean to use the word scale, but to replicate it at a larger capacity. Like, so for example, if you're a restaurant owner, maybe that's franchising, right? If it's an app or technology, you know, maybe that's being able to scale it to, you know, to a mass audience, being able to get a whole bunch of users and things like that. So scaling involves a couple different things. Like if it's a service-based business, like, or if it's like a product-based business, I'm gonna use product-based as an example. It's about basically understanding your ratios, right? Okay, I need this amount in order to generate this amount. It's almost like when your grandma cooking, like she know exactly how much she need in order to like have it with 30 people coming over versus if it's just like 3 people coming over. Grandma just naturally knows. So you gotta be like grandma with your business, right? So you gotta understand your ratios, understand like, okay, it takes this amount of manpower to be able to give this particular result, so it makes it easier to multiply it. So let's say I have a cleaning business, right? And it takes me 3 people to clean 10 houses a week, right? If I want to scale to 30 houses a week, how many people I need? 3 people to clean 10 houses a week. If I want to scale to 30 houses a week, how many people I need?
9 folks.
9 folks, right? But the thing is, with that also is associated expenses, right? So pretty much you have to pay these 9 folks you have to pay those 3 folks a particular salary, so there's particular expenses that come along with that. There's particular expenses that come along with the cleaning supplies, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're scaling that to 30 houses, then that's 9 folks, but that's also 9 salaries. That's also like 30 houses as far as the cleaning expenses. So being able to understand those particular ratios and how to scale those up is really, really important. But the thing is like with scaling, it's basically about understanding what the configuration of your business is, what the costs associated are, and then being able to multiply them, right? And the thing is, create it in a way where it can actually realistically be done. So like if you're your business and you're not able to hire nobody and develop processes to scale, like to be able to hire additional individuals, you can't scale because everything depends on you.
Right.
Unless cloning technology gets kicking off really quick, you really can't scale that business. So you really want to be able to create business ideas that can be like, that don't require, unique characteristics that can be, where you can create like, okay, these are my ratios and this is how I scale this up.
Yeah, at the very minimum, again, those 2 things are interrelated. Systems help create efficiency. Efficiency can impact positively profitability. If you can have profitability, you can grow. Small business owners employ the largest percentage of the labor force in the United States.
do.
As African Americans, we're going to hire people who look like us. So it's important that scaling and systems are in place. I want to go to one more before we open up the Q&A. This one spoke to me also. You said, understand your values and your why. Create a mission and a vision by which you abide. Because all money ain't good money, pursue it. If your mission don't align with it, close the door.
Not the police.
There you go.
People think I know the new generation of ops is the police.
There you go.
The opportunity. So pretty much, a lot of people treat values and mission and vision as an afterthought. Like they'll be like, oh, I gotta create this mission and vision after the fact, right? The thing is, in the reality of it, your mission and vision shapes everything that you do, right? Your mission and your vision is the North Star of your business, right? Your values. And the thing is, your mission and vision derive from your core values. So understanding what your core values are, what are the things that you stand for in business, what are the things that you believe in business, et cetera, and then from there, creating that mission, as far as understanding who you're trying to serve, how you're going to do it, and then how you're going to create value. And then the thing is, I'm going to give Cynthia a shout out because a lot of people try to have these long mission statements, but Cynthia was the one who kind of exposed me to the 8 words or less mission statement. So I want to give her a shout out on that one. So the thing is, with your mission statement, if you're going into 3 or 4 sentences, you're not being hyper specific on who you're targeting, who you're trying to serve, et cetera, et cetera. So if you limit that mission statement to 8 words, then it's like, it forces you to think. I'm like, okay, who am I trying to serve? How am I doing it? And how am I creating value? And those are the 3 components of a mission statement. But if you can contract that to 8 words or less, it helps you be hyper specific, right? So the thing is, why is your mission important? Why is your values important? Why is your vision important? Because they're basically the parameters by which you make all of your business decisions, right? So the thing is, if you have particular beliefs as far as your values, or if your mission is to do a particular thing, if somebody's approaching you with an opportunity, even though it may be lucrative, if it doesn't align with who you're serving, how you're doing it, and the value you're creating, it's not a good opportunity. You might have to tell it, you might have to, like, nah, I'm good, thank you, or whatever, right? Then also with your vision is the destination of where you're trying to take the business. right? So the thing is, if somebody approaches you with an opportunity about, okay, we could do this, if it doesn't align with that vision, if it doesn't help you get to that destination, it's something you may want to decline. So a lot of people try to come up with a mission or vision and core values after the fact, where in reality, that should be the first thing you do. And then from there, every decision that you make, every decision that you make, all your operational processes, all of that is based on the mission, vision, and values, and your organizational culture and all of that. The mission, vision, and values even tell you who you should hire and who you shouldn't hire.
Exactly.
Right? So, like, even from hiring decisions, operational decisions, partnership decisions, like your mission, vision, and values determine all of that. So you just want to make sure that you do that first before you start talking about what your product is, your offering is, and all those different things.
To piggyback on that, even before you even get to that, and that's critical, but I would also say, even before you get to that part, you have to have an internal why.
Yep.
Why are you doing this? And here's the trick, it just can't be about money, right? A lot of times we get into entrepreneurship in our small business because we see the work that we're putting in the 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with 9 to 5 or working in an organization, nothing at all. But a lot of us who have ventured out in the entrepreneurial realm see the work that we're putting in this organization and think to ourselves, well, man, if I did this for myself, what could life be for me? And oftentimes, financially is what drives you. But if your why is financial, you're not gonna make it.
Nope.
Okay, it's true. More money, more problems. Like it won't solve it. Your why has to be something deeper. And here's what the trick though: your why will change over time. Like, my why was one thing, but now if you listen to my show, I end every show and I say the same thing. I say, I don't do this for my first name, I do this for my last name. I have a son now, my why is my son. I do this because I'm trying to leave a legacy to him. Jason can attest to this.
Yep, and the funny thing is both our sons have the same birthday. You're part, December 2nd.
Yeah, same birthday, that's not right. But your why. So you have to come up with that why, and the internal, what's gonna get you up every single day to go through the hell that entrepreneurs have to face on a daily basis. So that's critical. Understanding your why.
And if you want to look up more information on the why, like look up the golden circle on the internet, and then it'll explain that whole process. Because there's the why, the what, and the how, right? All businesses know what they do. Some businesses know how they do it, but only a few businesses know why they do it. So look up the golden circle, and that'll really kind of really illuminate what Curtis is talking about.
All right. I think that wraps up our Q&A. Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions for Jason? Any questions for the business?
Get the mic, hold on.
Austin, get the mic.
Austin did that.
So, most of us here are probably like young professionals and things of that nature. Are there any apps or websites that you would recommend for efficiency's sake? Things that make an entrepreneur be more efficient in cutting down time and taking care of business?
I can't think of.
Or even a CRM, or anything that you would think of technology-wise that would
Well,
help out.
two things I would say. One, there's a great book that Allison Scrutchins actually gave. It's called the Single Business Professional, the One Person Business, or something of that nature.
The $1 million
Business, right? And inherent in that whole book, right? It gives you little tips on how to be more efficient, how to use technology for marketing, for HR, and things of that nature. But honestly, without an app, before we had apps, I would just say this: embrace this notion of godly efficient focus, right? Have your faith in place, but be mindful of how you spend your time. Be mindful about what you're focusing your time on. Eliminate Facebook and social media frivolously. You know what I mean? Be mindful about how you're doing certain things. I think that's the biggest thing. With whatever apps and technology, we have the mind. And so I try to embrace this being efficient and focused with my time and just eliminating those things that don't add value to my ultimate end goal.
So there's a couple different ones you can use. I know Monday is a real popular one for project management. Then if you're looking as far as the CRM, HubSpot has a free CRM that's pretty good. And then I'm having a brain freeze, and I think it's selective memory because this is a platform that's really irritating me. Thomas, I'm having a brain freeze right now, and I think it's partly because I'm traumatized. What's the joint the planning app? When you put everything in it, and then it tells you like despite the finishes deliverable. I'm having a brain freeze right now. Asana. Yes, Asana. Asana is a really, really good one as well. It's a little, and part of the reason I forgot it because it can get a little annoying. So like, if you want somebody to micromanage you, if you need micromanagement, get Asana because Asana is going to send all type of annoying notifications. Hey, you haven't done this, you haven't turned it in, etc., etc. Really powerful tool as well. Slack is a really good tool for organizing your thoughts, communicating, things like that. So there's a lot of different tools that you can use as far as that's concerned. But the thing is, what I will say, Kevin, is that the tools that you use are only as good as the effort and how you utilize them, right? So if you're not utilizing them and you're not really putting them to work, they're not going to really benefit you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I would recommend just find a platform that works for you or a process that works for you. Because some people are just old school planners. Like, some people just rock that way. You know what I'm saying? So find something that works for you that you can stay committed to, and then utilize that. Because there's all type of like platforms out there. It's just a matter of what works for you. But if you don't work it, it won't work for you.
One of the questions that we had for you, Jason, was about branding. When is the appropriate time to rebrand? And how often should one rebrand themselves?
So, pretty much, the thing is that it's pretty much when you're how old is your business?
I was told to not tell you, but it's the DJ.
So the thing is, so I'm gonna say this, right? The thing is, like, if you don't really have traction, like, you kind of got to rebrand anyway to kind of get to that point where you're getting product market fit, et cetera, and all of this and all of that, right? And the thing is, branding, whether or not you're doing it, so there's brand management and then there's your brand, right? Brand management is the art and science of managing your brand. You know what your reputation is, you know what people think about when they hear about your business, what people believe those core values are, et cetera, right? But then you can have a brand just by default because you're out here engaging with people, and people are going to develop opinions about your business, your service, et cetera. So the thing is, if I'm reading this correctly, like if you're rebranding, maybe you're kind of trying to say, I want to create some processes and I really want to be more intentional about ensuring that what I want to be put out there is actually being put out there, right? So the thing is, if you're not getting the results that you want, it's always a good time to rebrand, if you will, and everything and all of that, right? But the thing is, you got to remember, a lot of people think about rebranding as graphical stuff, like, I'm going to redo my logo, I'm rebranding. I'm going to redo, I'm going to get some new flyers, I'm rebranding. Nah, like a true rebrand is when you're really going deep into those core values and you're adjusting those things. Because the thing is, if you think about it like an iceberg, right? Your graphical stuff is the stuff that you see above water. You know, your flyers and things like that. But those core values are the things that are the true size of the iceberg, right? Because you see the iceberg, well, it's just a little pebble. Then you hit it, there's a whole bunch of things underneath there, right? So the true girth of your brand is the things that's underneath. The graphics and the branding and the website and all that stuff is just the representative, it's the manifestation of that particular brand. So the thing is, like, if you're doing a true rebrand, you're really digging deep into what those core values are, what your brand promise is to your customers, you know, because the brand is basically the promise that you make to consumers and whether or not you're delivering on it or not, right? And then you're looking at how I'm going to continue to deliver on that. So, like, there's always a good time. If you're not getting the results you want, you're not attracting the customer you want, you're not, you know, like it's always a good time being if that's the case.
I don't know if there's ever a real true time limit with branding. That's more of a Keanu Barber question, but what I would say is this.
Hey!
You gotta be, if you're involved in your business, if you're involved in what you do as a professional, you're constantly asking the question, is my business going in the right direction with what the market trends are? You're constantly planning, so I don't think it's every 2 years I need to do something new. And I think in Amazon,
I agree.
With this whole branding thing, I remember Amazon at one point was just synonymous with books. You went to Amazon to buy books. And then at some point, I don't quite know when it happened, it shifted, where now Amazon is the biggest company for everything, right? They rebranded because they were able to shift with the changing consumer demands and things of that nature. They had an existing platform and they just broadened it. So I don't know if it's time driven like that. I just think you have to be in tune and sensitive with what the market trends are asking and be nimble enough and flexible enough to be able to accommodate. We got.
Can I just add on that? Like, I don't think Amazon was a rebrand. I think because they had core values. They always delivered the books on time. They always like consistently delivered on their brand promise. I think Amazon was more than an extension. I don't think their brand changed, their offerings changed. Like with Apple, for example. Apple had a particular brand promise. We're gonna be unique. We're gonna be, we're gonna have beautiful products. Easy to use, et cetera, et cetera. Like they had no experience with mobile phones, but everybody bought them when the iPhone came out because it was Apple, and they had a particular brand promise that Apple has constantly delivered, right? So like branding is more, it's not what you're offering, it's whether or not that message or that brand promise actually changes. At least that's my interpretation of it.
I want to say thank you again for everybody coming out. I want to say thank you again for Jason for having me out, and congratulations, brother, on your project. Much success, much love.
So, pretty much, just want to thank everybody, for coming out. Continue to network, continue to drink, continue to tip your bartenders. Pretty much, I don't feel like it's a legit event unless you say tip your bartenders, because it's very necessary, right? So the thing, because they're entrepreneurs, they're doing their thing as well. So what I want to say is, thank everybody for coming out. Continue to network, continue to drink. Pretty much, if anybody's interested in the album, you can go on SoundCloud and you can type in Notorious B.I.Z. The album is called Founder Music Volume 1. Definitely check it out. If anybody needs the link directly, you can come holler at me and make sure you get it. But it's really, I'm not saying this myself, like it's some really good stuff. Like I have like Grammy Award winning artists like Phwealthy who said fire. So like definitely make sure you check it out. Thank you.